Ahead on prime time, the island marks its 17th traffic-related fatality of the year. Details from the Jigo accident coming up. Plus, a retired officer from the Guard is speaking out about the anonymous letters released. Chris Barnett has that story, and hundreds of the island's Catholic faithful celebrate the patron saint of the Marianas.
Hafa and good evening. The Guam Police Department is investigating the island's 17th traffic-related fatality of the year. Here's more.
Shortly before 7:30 Saturday night, Guam Fire and Guam Police respond to a serious incident in Jigo. GFD spokesperson Kevin Riley.
What we're looking at here is a Jeep traveling northbound struck two pedestrians that apparently came out from the jungle across the street. We have two males estimated between 25 to 30 years old. One right now CPR is being conducted at the scene and en route. The other one is unconscious, unresponsive, however does have a pulse and is breathing.
JV and Carl work at a nearby auto shop and witnessed what happened. They immediately ran out to help.
I saw the body fly. We ran out knowing that, it was an accident. So we stopped whatever vehicles from going northbound and southbound, directing them through our own parking lot, making sure that there is no inconvenience of traffic.
Even before emergency responders arrived, they received some help from a flight crew from Anderson Air Force Base.
One of them, I believe, was a medic, and then the others were all, military personnel that I don't know what their rank is, but they tried to revive the one that was down, because the other one was already breathing. It's just that one wasn't breathing yet.
They're heading, according to our guys, they're heading to Anderson to catch a plane back home.
The pedestrians were transported to Guam Regional Medical City, where hours later one of the men was pronounced dead. This is the second traffic-related fatality in as many weeks. GPD's Highway Patrol is also investigating the crash involving a car that struck a concrete utility pole in Denver.
A retired Guam National Guard member speaks out on controversial anonymous letters released about issues and concerns at the Guard. Chris Barnett has more.
Largely accurate. That's how retired Army Chief Warrant Officer 2 Rick Tenorio describes concerns raised in two anonymous letters about issues at the Guam National Guard under Adjutant General Esther Agagi's command. He adds that he has nothing against Agagi, saying it was the governor's prerogative to appoint who she wants as TAG. Tenorio tells KUAM he's in the process of being terminated from his civilian job at the Guard, but he says he's speaking out now because he knows others can't.
I don't need the job. Unlike a lot of these people that are reporting anonymously, they may need that job to support their families, to support themselves. I'm retired. I'm already receiving a pension. There's nothing they can do to take that away.
Tenorio tells KUAM Assistant Adjutant General Corey Gacono is firing him for petty reasons, but that he's not taking it personal. He said Gacono is not eligible to serve in the Assistant Adjutant General position, partly because Gacono was an active Guard reservist when he was nominated as Assistant TAG.
First off, you have to be a resident of Guam. That's the very first thing. You have to be a resident of Guam.
Sources familiar with the Guard tell KUAM Gacono does not vote on Guam, but Agagi said he is qualified. Tenorio says the governor's office should have vetted Gacono's nomination.
It's a responsibility of the governor's staff in their vetting process to validate these things.
While Gacono and Lieutenant Colonel Tasleen Panton, part of Agagi's command staff, were hired before Agagi, Tenorio said it was Agagi who promoted them to their current command staff positions. Tenorio also said that Guard leadership in Adelup shouldn't be discounting the letters' content because they were written anonymously.
The problems still need to be fixed, no matter what, no matter whether it was submitted out in the open or submitted anonymously. People saying use a chain of command, but the chain of command is part of the problem.
Tenorio tells KUAM he helped build the Guard's data and information systems and was a highly trained specialist there for 2 decades. He said he was hired back as a civilian after retirement because of his expertise. He tells KUAM the anonymous letters raised concerns, including an allegation that a soldier was told to adjust Agagi's mandatory removal date. Agagi declining to discuss that allegation with KUAM, saying it was a personnel issue.
If it became necessary to determine that, everything in our systems, especially our personnel database, everything is tracked. It will indicate who, when, what, and how.
Agagi, in an interview with KUAM, defended her command staff, which was heavily criticized in both letters. The Adjutant General said they are amazing and that she had a team she could trust.
It's apparent that there's a lack of trust between the Adjutant General and some of the staff within the Guard.
Tenorio confirms that enlisted soldiers and officers are being targeted for not towing the line. He also confirmed several specific incidents in both letters and says those being targeted are just doing the right thing.
They're not being outspoken. They're performing their duty of advising the command. Ma'am, sir, whatever. That's not the right way to do it, or you can't do that. The regulations prohibit it, or the regulations prohibit doing it that way. Well, that they become outspoken instead of actually doing the right thing of advising their superiors. One person actually resigned because they did not want to commit an illegal act.
Tenorio also called out Agagi for her repeated use of the term largely inaccurate to describe claims made in the letters.
But to say something is largely inaccurate implies that some of it is accurate.
Tenorio said Agagi and the governor should take the allegations in the letters seriously because if they're not addressed locally, the feds could act and that could have far-reaching impacts, including affecting the economy.
Will they shut down the Guam National Guard? I kind of doubt it, but they can start defunding it.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
You can find our full-length interview with Adjutant General Agagi responding to those anonymous letters on our Facebook page. 37-year-old Lobelia Mendoza pleaded not guilty during her arraignment hearing in district court today. Mendoza was indicted on drug charges. She was arrested along with Joseph Roman and Mark Mayo. According to court documents from April to May 2018, the three defendants allegedly conspired in a scheme to distribute 50 or more grams of meth. Mendoza is currently serving a federal sentence on drug-related charges and will remain in custody. Last year, she was charged for the possession of 537 gross grams of meth and 30 grams of cocaine. She entered a plea and admitted to distributing drugs to U.S. military members, dependents, and a federal employee. Mendoza was alleged in Jonya Mayor Jesse Bloss's federal case to be a former girlfriend of his. The village mayor was charged with extortion and bribery for allowing illegal drug trafficking through Jonya mailboxes. In court today, Mendoza refused to answer the court's question, quote, if the defendant has consumed any alcohol, drugs, or pills prior to the initial appearance. Trial was set for February 12th for all three defendants. More from District Court. 40-year-old Joshua Mesa has entered a plea agreement. He agreed to plead guilty to attempted possession with intent to distribute meth. The charges stem from an April 2018 controlled delivery to an Agana Heights cluster box. Investigators replaced 50 grams of meth with sham. Mesa faces a maximum of 40 years in prison and a fine of up to $5 million. His attorney, Peter Perez, asked the court that he be released for 48 hours so that he could get married. Assistant U.S. Attorney Laura Sambataro objected, arguing he can get married during a visitation. She added Mesa has a history of violating his pretrial release conditions in his cases that are before the Superior Court. Attorney Perez responded that he has no intention of violating a limited release as he has been incarcerated for 19 months. Judge Joaquin Manabusan told the defense the best way to deal with this is to formally file a motion. In the meantime, Mesa is scheduled to be sentenced on March 8th. The court granted Thomas Marlar's motion to travel every month to the Philippines for no more than 15 days. Marlar is a retired University of Guam professor that was indicted in July, along with co-defendant Jayanika Lawrence. The two are accused of participating in a scheme to rig bids for multiple UOG federally funded projects. Marlar was responsible for awarding them. According to his attorney David Lujan, the travel is for his scientific articles, research, and having met the government's request of over $250,000 in property and presented a $50,000 check. The U.S. Probation Office asked the defendant to submit an itinerary 2 days prior to leaving and to return his passport in between travel periods. Marlar has pled not guilty and trial was pushed to March 10th. After several hours of debate, the Guam Education Board votes to move forward with plans for the Guam Department of Education to operate interscholastic sports.
following public participation over the debate surrounding high school interscholastic sports. GEB member John Birch made the full court press to call for a delay of the implementation of the GDOE ESA League.
I make the motion to extend our participation in the Independent Interscholastic Athletic Association of Guam for the rest of the school year, up to and including fourth quarter sports, and also to schedule a work session as soon as possible to address GDOE's interscholastic sports.
Superintendent John Fernandez, however, called for a timeout. Fernandez indicating that because GDOE no longer has a purchasing agreement with the IIAAG for third and fourth quarter sports, it would appear the matter would now have to go up for procurement. And if that were the case, IIAAG would see competition from the GNOC, which has indicated interest in operating interscholastic sports. After the board went into executive session, Birch ended up amending his motion because of the procurement issue. Birch instead moved to have GDOE go forward with the ESA League in January, but allow GDOE to outsource interscholastic sports in 6 months, rather than the mandated wait for 2 years. It was game over after the motion was denied by a vote of 4-3. It was a week ago Governor Lou Leon Guerrero asked the GEB to reconsider its decision for GDOE to separate from the IIAAG, calling for interscholastic sports to be unified. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Thanks, Adriana. Guam's Catholics celebrated the Feast of the Immaculate Conception today with a series of masses at the Agana Cathedral. Father Val Rodriguez was one of the mass celebrants. He explains the religious significance of the observance.
The Immaculate Conception is a very important feast in the church because, of course, we know that in the book of Genesis, which is our first reading in our masses today, talks about the beginning of sin when Adam and Eve sinned against God. But from the very moment that Adam and Eve sinned, God already promised that there will be a Savior. And of course, we know that fast forward in the New Testament, Jesus Christ will be the fulfillment of that promise of having a Savior. And the Savior will come through the Virgin, which is the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Catholics on Guam also celebrate Santa Maria in Camelin, the patroness of the Marianas, whose statue is brought down from the alcove above the cathedral altar each year for a procession around Hagåtña.
Well, of course, the Santa Maria Camelin is our own, let's say, it's local to the Archdiocese of Hagåtña, and we have seen it in the history of the Archdiocese that the Blessed Virgin Mary, in her title as the Santa Maria Camelin, really played a lot of important events in the history of the island of Guam and the Church of the Archdiocese of Hagåtña.
The Feast of the Immaculate Conception is also a legal holiday for the government of Guam. Stay tuned, more news after the break.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
The Matson USO Rock and Run for Our Heroes is coming back to the Guam Museum, Skinner Plaza, on Saturday, December 14th. Check out our fast and easy registration online at guam.uso.org. We'll be rocking out throughout the course. Lace up your shoes, bring your family and friends, and rock and run for our heroes on December 14th. Sign up today online at USO Tumon Bay and the Royal Orchid Hotel or at USO Anderson. Special thanks to title sponsor Matson and all supporters of our USO Rock and Run for Our Heroes 5K.
Normal should never be abandoned, abused, neglected. 265 foster children on Guam have longed for family, clothes, and food. See their faces, hear their stories, be a foster family, and bring them home, where faith, love, and stability will change their lives. Please support the magic of giving this Christmas.
I am an Instagram boyfriend. Colorful backgrounds, candids, stage candids. I get them all. But now that rolled chicken tacos are back at Taco Bell,
Oh, babe, look!
my hands are tied.
Sunset heart hands! Babe, sunset heart hands! Sunset heart hands!
Let's just enjoy this moment.
Take the picture!
So easy to dip, so hard to put down. Rolled chicken tacos are back with your choice of dips, only at Taco Bell.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Welcome back. The Singapore Air Force will establish a permanent fighter training detachment at Andersen Air Force Base. U.S. Secretary of Defense Mark Esper and the Singapore Defense Minister signed a non-binding memorandum of understanding at a national defense forum over the weekend. The training presence is not expected to begin until 2029 and will consist of an aircraft squadron and associated personnel. Aircraft hangars and support facilities for the detachment are also expected to be built. According to a U.S. Air Force news release, the Singapore fighter presence on Guam will provide more training and cooperation opportunities that will improve the interoperability of our air forces and strengthen U.S.-Singapore defense ties. Public Auditor B.J. Cruz says GovGuam agencies better watch out if they're asking vendors for Christmas party donations. Chris Barnett reports.
Public Auditor B.J. Cruz says a whistleblower sent him a message.
Some vendors complaining government-wide that they are being asked to donate to agency Christmas parties.
Cruz says it may be the season, but that isn't a reason for GovGuam agencies to break procurement law.
There's a whole section of the procurement statute on kickbacks and gratuities, and the policy behind it is to have a fair, even playing field for everybody.
Guam procurement law says any government entity or employee that solicits or receives favors or gratuities from a potential or contracted vendor is in breach of ethical standards. Cruz telling KUAM he's heard firsthand vendors feel pressured to donate when asked, because if they don't...
Sometimes vendors feel like if I don't give, maybe my PO is not going to be processed in 60 days. I'll have to wait 6 months to get paid. And so better I make this small donation and get my PO paid.
Cruz said when he received a tip that agencies were soliciting vendors government-wide, he figured he would send out a release advising agencies about what is naughty and what is nice. Cruz says he's not trying to be a Grinch, and that his advice doesn't mean agencies can't ask anyone for raffle prizes or giveaways for their holiday parties.
If it's someone that's not having any business in their agency, I would imagine that they could solicit from them.
So if you're planning your agency's Christmas party and you're still not sure about who you can ask for what, call Vince Duenas at the Office of the Public Auditor, 475-0390, extension 210. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
The Guam Power Authority is proposing significant changes to the rooftop solar energy program known as net metering. GPA will conduct a public hearing in 30 days on a petition to be filed with the Public Utilities Commission that will require all future rooftop solar systems to have battery backup in order to tie into the island-wide power grid. GPA will also ask the PUC to approve an end to the carryover of net metering credits from year to year. The public hearing is scheduled for Thursday, January 9th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. at the CCU conference in GPA's headquarters in Mingilao. Copies of the resolutions are available on the agency's website. The longest-running U.S. Department of Defense humanitarian assistance effort takes off for its 68th mission from Andersen Air Force Base. Adriana Cotero joins the mission called Operation Christmas Drop.
It's not very often that you get an opportunity to participate in something that is as impactful and meaningful as Operation Christmas Drop is and has been.
The mission is to deliver humanitarian assistance goods to the outer islands of Micronesia for those most in need this holiday season. According to Coordinator Major Dan Moss, the United States Air Force has taken on the mission since 1952.
Dropping one bundle over the island of Kaping-Moraine, and this year we're dropping a record 176 bundles to 55 islands, about 86,000 pounds worth of goods to a little over 20,000 individuals across the Federated States, Micronesia, and Palau.
The bundles are dropped off from a C-130 aircraft that flies up to 400 miles per hour and gets as low as 300 feet for the deliveries.
Some of these islands, they won't get a boat but once a year, and so our airdrops in there, bringing in fishing supplies, medical supplies, school supplies, clothing, food, it's really important for them. Not only that, but from a strategic standpoint, there's really nothing better for us to develop those partnerships across the Indo-Pacific region.
Having reached the 68th mission, Major Moss says it's also not just about the humanitarian aspect, but also the partnerships, as they have joined forces with Australia, New Zealand, and the Japanese air self-defense.
It's really rewarding, especially knowing who we're dropping it to. So these people in remote islands, they don't often get items that we're dropping to them. So it's really rewarding seeing them run out and hearing them on the radio, the joy that it brings them for Christmas.
The dynamic delivery is something done on the fly that has become a tactical practice for the U.S. Air Force, explains Major Moss.
The training that we get from the U.S. Air Force is just valuable. Most of the time whenever we're dropping, we drop every week, every day, but most of it's to a surveyed drop zone, not to a unsurveyed drop zone on islands where the aircraft commanders are truly trusted to clear their own DZ, determine their own drop site, taking into account the winds, the tides, the islanders on the ground, making sure that it's safe.
In addition, surrounding countries including Bangladesh, Singapore, Thailand, India, Sri Lanka, and the Philippines are observing this week to learn from a practice that the U.S. plans to further develop.
It's truly an honor and a privilege to be part of such a meaningful operation that brings a lot of impact to these islanders.
Joining on the meaningful operation for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Andy Wheeler is up next with sports.
Make every day a plus.
Okay. Can I meet Alan, please?
Attention passengers of flight AJ3004, your flight has been delayed.
It's the flavor that makes you go, woo. McDonald's new spicy barbecue glazed tenders and chicken sandwich. Made with tender, juicy, all-white meat chicken.
Available in 4, 6, or 10-piece chicken tenders. Try the spicy barbecue crispy chicken sandwich too.
Holidays happening at Docomo Pacific's Red Friday. Purchase select phones on our popular Now program and choose a free gift, like free wireless earphones or huge discounts on the latest smartwatch. Prepaid friends get free load with select prepaid phones. And get a chance to win a Nintendo Switch when you take a selfie with our new AI dog, Spark. Come in for a happening holiday now. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
All right, welcome to sports. I'm Andy Wheeler, filling in for Dave Delgado. He's taking some time off. And another man that took a little time off from the cage, but not because it was a vacation, but because of injury, the champ, Rocky Martinez. So, the injury, you battled through rehab. Let's talk about the injury rehab, how that went.
Man, it went really well. Kind of sped through it pretty quickly. It actually didn't really feel like a time off.
Right.
You know, everything ran smooth. Surgery went good and rehab went well. So.
Okay, so rehab is good and you're feeling 100% ready for a big fight coming up. Tell us about it.
Yeah, 100% ready. I'll be defending my title in Deep out in Japan, and my opponent, he's kind of just a journeyman type of guy. He definitely has a lot of fights. I'm a heavy favorite, but I think this is a good fight for me to come back from an injury. And just kind of get back on the winning track. And
right. I don't like to call them tune-up fights because it's still a fight. You're getting in there with a dude who has made it to this level just like you have. So it's not something to look past him. You really got to take every opponent seriously. So let's talk about your training. What your day-to-day training schedule looks like.
Man, I train just about 7 days a week, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day, and it's just a really it's a vigorous schedule, but man, I just feel like you train hard and you fight easy. That's just simply put, train hard, fight easy.
Like all the work goes into the training. When
Yeah.
you come down to fight, you should be ready to go, and you're ready for whoever's in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, I just put myself through so much in training that by fight time, it's nothing I haven't seen before, you know?
Right. Plus, you know, with this time off for the injury, I bet you're just eager. You're hungry to get back in there.
Yeah, I'm hungry, man. It wasn't a last good 3 fights for me, and man, I just got to get back on that long winning streak again.
Because you learn more from a loss than you do a win, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I feel that way 100%.
So let's talk about the organization you're fighting for in Japan and the fan base that you've developed out there. I saw some of your social media posts of random guys in Japan stopping you for an autograph and stuff. That's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love fighting in Japan, and it's I feel like they really appreciate me and my fighting style, and I feel like I'm home there now when I'm fighting, just because this is my 10th fight out there now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've built a fan base, and obviously the organization is pretty confident in you, and they're able to put you out there. Plus, you kind of have their belt.
Yeah. So they, you know, I'm always ready to defend the belt. I don't want to just sit back and hold on to it without defending it, you know?
Yeah, there are, you know, those champs that get the belt and then they take some time off and the belt, and then, okay, we end up just going with someone else and there's a fight for the belt. But you feel like you earned it and you got to keep it, right?
Yeah, definitely got to defend it, man. It's part of being a champion, right?
Yeah, for sure. So the Guam crowd, anybody heading out with you? Your corner, obviously.
Yeah, I got a couple cornermen coming out, Mark Mendiola and Melker Manabusen, and, you know, a couple other people coming out, and my mom will be coming out as well. So
Little family trip.
Yeah,
too.
a little family trip.
Right
and,
on. She watch you fight in person much?
Yeah, my mom's actually, I don't believe she's missed one fight yet.
Nice,
yeah.
nice. Because some moms would just be like, I don't want to see my boy in there getting punched, but mom's all about it. She's behind you 100%. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you got to have that support team, especially with what you do and the injuries and everything that you've gone through.
Yeah, man, my family plays a huge role in supporting me and keeping me going.
So how can we watch the fight here on Island? Do we know yet?
It should be broadcast live on YouTube. Once I get the link, I'll be sharing it via, you know, social media.
Okay.
Well,
best of luck to you, man. The entire island and everybody in Japan, of course, is going to be rooting for you.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, make sure you follow him, Roki Martinez, on social media to find out how you can watch the fight. Well, that'll do it for sports, man. More prime time coming up.
I'm Ruby Santos. I'm from the beautiful southern village of Immaculate. One of the things that we take pride in is promoting Guam through our music, through our original compositions of songs. Here on Guam, what makes us different is our people. When we can extend that Hafaday spirit of being sincere, being genuine, being truthful, being honest, that's all part of our Hafaday spirit. The hospitality, our hearts, the genuine friendships and connections that we establish, it's all from the heart, and they can feel it. The Hafaday Pledge is something that should be taught also to our children. I think when you plant that seed in them, they'll understand it at an early age how important it is to be hospitable, to receive and embrace not only our own culture, but to embrace the other cultures around us. We are all one people.
I hinanauta nui manauta tanu I Tomoru Siha at the Senator Antonio M. Palomo Guam Museum and Chamorro Educational Facility, featuring state-of-the-art technology and the most complete display of Guam's history and culture in the Chamorro language to date. We have over 300 curated artifacts, thousands of images, multiple audios, and short films to guide you through the historical Chamorro narrative of Guam. Take the journey at the Guam Museum. For more information, visit www.guammuseum.org.
Welcome back. Here's your birthday shout-outs.
Happy birthday wishes tonight to Chase Blechell. Also, Joaquin Salas, happy 14th birthday to you. Elmer Castro, happy birthday number 41. Happy birthday to Camelin Lizama. It's Camelin's 17th birthday. And happy birthday number 7 to Caden Tudela. Also, happy belated birthday wishes to Bob John Kanata. Happy birthday number 49. Happy birthday, everyone.
And that's it for Primetime. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Buy with confidence. It's the Triple J Advantage. 1 year maintenance, 1 year tire and rim protection, key replacement,